Hello, my fellow simmers. I'm Delightful Simmer, and today we're going to be recoloring hair. So this is one of my favorite hairs from Outdoor Retreat, and it's really just kind of a basic hair, but I love it because for that reason. I'm kind of a basic hair person. So today we're going to be recoloring this one. What you're going to need is Photoshop, obviously, and Sims 4 Studio, obviously. So let's get started. Now, when I do hair, actually, let's go ahead and go back to the beginning so that you know what I'm doing. So basically, I go into CAS, create a 3D, create a CAS standalone. And when I choose a hair to recolor, I choose the darker gray, so that for some reason that's the one that works best for me. So we're going to choose that one. And we're going to new folder. I'm going to make a new folder, call it whatever you want. So I'm just going to call it that. Oops, I guess I've already done this one. Anyway, we'll just call it new folder for now. And then name it something that you'll remember what it is. I always use my name first. It's just easier for me to find things. Delightful Simmer, Outdoor Retreat, hair. So because I've already done this one, I probably actually won't release it. Although I don't know if I've released it. I make so many things, it's not even funny. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, so here's your hair. It's the dark gray one. Uh-oh, sorry. My dog's being loud again. So what you're going to do is you're going to export that file. I just call it hair because it's in that, it's going in that folder. And make sure it's a DDS image. You can do a ping image, but I don't like working with pings. I'm just used to doing DDS images. So save it as your whatever file you want. And then double click on it and it brings up your DDS image. So what I use to make the hair look a little bit softer, less coarse, and just the way that I like it, I use Topaz Labs and I use Denoise 6. I don't know, it's not free, so I don't know if you guys want to buy that or what, but to me it's worth it. I love it. But the first thing you want to do with this hair is you can tell that there's a bit of a blue tint to it, so we're going to desaturate it. So we're going to go to adjustments, we're going to go to image, adjustments, desaturate, and there you go. There's that. Now it's just a neutral gray. So then I go to my denoise and I have my setting right here. So here's one thing. You can look at my settings. Oops, maybe accidentally. Okay, I'm not sure how to bring those settings back. Let's just cancel that and see if it comes back. Sorry, guys. There you go. Okay. Hey, come back here. There's that button. Hey, I want to show my settings. Oh, I want it. That's making me cranky. Because you can't see my settings. That's annoying. If I make this smaller. No. Hmm. Okay, well, you'll just have to figure out your own settings for what you like, I guess, because mine are not going to show up. You can't see the numbers, and I'm not sure why it won't. Actually, you can see some of the numbers. I don't think there's anything really over point. I think the only thing I changed was the overall strength, the shadow, and add grain, or maybe not. I can't remember. Anyway, here are my settings, and you can use those if you want, or use your own. Excuse me. So I'm going to show you how it's changed everything. Okay, so if you click on it, it'll show you the original. So here's the original. Here's the new one. So it gives it a little bit more texture. Here's another one that I did, which is it's a little bit different. I have two that I like to use. So it just depends on the hair. So I think we're going to go with this one today because it makes it a little bit smoother, but it also brings out some of those strands, and that's important. Otherwise, you'll just have one blob of color. So we're going to let that do its thing. And now you have your base hair. Okay, so here's the tricky part. So you have to mess around with settings. That's the only thing that I can really tell you. I can tell you my settings, but I can show you my settings, but it's basically you have to do what you like, what looks good to you. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a brightness contrast layer, excuse me. And I turn up the contrast all the way so that this is high. So this is like the shiny parts. Now I have a specific, I go by this hair that I did. It looks the best to me. So I try and replicate that look. So the first thing I do is I do the contrast. I turn the contrast all the way up. Then I add 2 layers. Now both of these layers are going to be soft light layers. So then you grab your hair swatch, and just like you recolor like I recolor clothing, I use the paint bucket tool and I color both of those layers. Now I can already tell that there's not enough contrast here. It's not going to look the same as it does on this hair. I might have to bump the contrast a little bit. And it's always just that first blonde one for me that I have to edit the contrast. It's usually the only one that I need to bump it up more. Although I don't know, this looks pretty good. Let's see how it looks compared to the other one. Yeah, see, I think I need to bump the contrast just a little bit more. So I'm going to add another brightness contrast layer. I'm just going to bump this up until I like the way it looks. Usually about 50. Let's save that again. And import that. I think it's ready. Yeah, there you go. So you have a little bit more contrast. It looks a little more defined. That's what I like. But you'll notice, and then I go to my 4th color because that's my first dark layer. But you'll notice if I look at this in S4S, you'll notice it's way too shiny. Like nobody's hair is ever that shiny, ever. So that's when I get rid of this second brightness contrast layer. So we're going to overwrite that. You don't have to. You can save it as a new file. I know what I'm doing, so I don't need to really have another file. And that bumps that back down. It's still a little too contrasty for me. Maybe even bump it down a little bit more. Or you have to fiddle with this, with the settings in all of this. You have to do what you like, what looks best to you. So you can play with that brightness level too as well. I mean, let's see how it looks. Come on. It takes forever to save. All right, now let's look at it compared to the fourth one on this hair. Yeah, it's a little better. Still needs to be slightly darker. So I'm going to go ahead and darken that up just a little bit more. And see how it looks. Because like I said, if it's too contrasty, it just looks unrealistic. So let's look at it compared to this one. That's better. There we go. There we go. So basically, you mess with settings. That's basically what you do. You mess around until you find the right look for you, that you like the best. Some people like really shiny looking hair. I don't. I like somewhat shiny looking hair. But the hardest part is to keep everything kind of, uniform. That's depending on the colors too. I mean, the colors can change everything and you have to mess with the settings even more. But because I'm kind of lazy, I like to not have to change my settings. So I just figured out how to do it in a way that I only have to mess with the settings with one hair. So really that's it, you guys. It's not difficult. You just add 2 soft light layers and make sure that your settings are right and how you like them, and that's it. I mean, it's pretty simple. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please click the thumbs up and subscribe and share this if you want, because it's a pretty simple technique. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye.